Okay, welcome back to the channel. Last few videos we've been building this isometric room. So we've been furnishing it. We kind of built the walls, the trim, the window. I want to put a lamp on this nightstand, which we built in the last video. So we're going to start with a cube, of course. So add a cube, grab this, move it up the z-axis, something. So we're going to hit N on the keyboard to bring up this menu, items, and we're going to change the dimensions of this. So I think I want this to be 10 by 10 by 12. So I'll go ahead and apply the scale because we did the dimensioning in object mode. So I'm just going to add a modifier to this, subdivision surface modifier. And we're going to increase the segments here to, say, 3. That's pretty good. So without applying this modifier, we're going to tab back into edit mode. And it allows us to further dimension this thing or add shape to it. So I'm going to do a Command R, roll my mouse wheel forward. I want 2 loop cuts, and I'll leave them right where they are. Now I'm going to go into face mode, and I want to scale this top down. Oh, something like that, maybe that. And I'm going to scale the bottom down a bit. Oh, scale this down, something like that. And then I'm going to edge mode, and I'm going to click on this edge, hold down the Option key to select all of these. I'm going to scale this in. So move your mouse to scale it. So I think I like that. That looks pretty good. Now you can see the bottom's rounded. I mean, if this thing were to sit on this nightstand, it's going to fall over. So I'm going to do a Command R to add a loop cut to the bottom here and drag it all the way to the bottom. You can see how it's flat in that bottom. Actually, I'm going to hit my / key to hide everything. So you can see how it's flat in that. I want the same thing on the top. So I'm going to do a Command R, and you just drag it till it won't go any further, and you end up with that flat surface. So I think I like this. So I'm going to tab back into object mode. You know, I think I want that top. I'm going to go back into edge mode, do a Command Z. Now I'm going to do a Command. I'm going to select the face here, this top face. I'm just going to scale that in just a bit more. Something like that. And then I'm going to add the edge loop. I like that better. Okay. So back to / we'll hide everything. Maybe we'll shade this smooth. That looks good. So that's the base of our lamp. So we're going to add a cylinder. We're going to scale that way down. G to grab Z-axis. Scale it down even further. And we're going to scale it on the Z-axis. Something, maybe scale a little bit more. And then scale the whole thing down just a little bit more. I think I like that. Maybe scale a little more on the Z-axis. Okay, that looks good. So next thing we need is a light bulb. Now we could just make a light bulb, but I thought what an opportunity to use a reference image. And so I'm going to bring a reference image of a light bulb into the scene here. But before you do that, you want to lock in a view because it's going to bring the reference image in whatever view your camera's in. And so if your camera is kind of on an angle, the reference image will come in on an angle. So I'm going to do front view, and I'm going to add image reference, and I have it on my desktop here. And I'm going to scale this down. And it's not hard to find an image of a light bulb on the interweb. So I'm going to say find your own image. They're easy to find. This one's not special. So I'm just scaling this up so it looks like it fits this lamp. And I would say that's a pretty good fit right there. Okay. So now staying in front mode, I'm going to zoom in here a bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a circle. So add a mesh, add a circle. So I'm going to rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. And I'm going to G to grab, move it up the z-axis. And see that little dot there? I want that in the center of the light bulb. So now I'm going to scale this down. Way down, way down, way down. So now I'm going to zoom in a bit here. Oh, you know, I've been messing around with Fusion 360. It's another software. And the keyboard commands are messing me up between that and Blender. So G to grab, z-axis. So I'm going to scale this up just a little bit. What I want is the edge of the light bulb to be, the edge of the circle to be on the edge of this light bulb. G to grab, Z. So right like that. Now, while you have an image here, you can select the image and you can go down here and to this here. So I'm going to select the image. And you can change the opacity and stuff of this if it's too bright. So if you just click on this, you can bring the opacity down. If you need to see sort of what you're doing, in this case we do. So I'll select my circle again, make sure I'm in front mode view. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh, front view. So I'm going to tap into vertex and I'm going to select all the vertexes on this side, X, delete vertexes. And I'm going to take all the ones, these, so not this one or this one. So just all of these, X, delete vertex. So now I'm going to select this vertex and I'm going to E to extrude. And don't worry about being too precise. You just want to have enough vertexes to follow this shape. And we're going to smooth it out later. So we're just going to do this all the way around the light bulb. I mean, we could have come up with the shape of a light bulb without a reference image, but this is a just a way to use. And so I'm going to select this one here and hit F to fill. And I'm going to grab this, just move it down Z a little bit. See, it's important that this one and this one are aligned because of an operation we're going to do next. So now I'm going to hide my reference image. It's this called an empty right here. So sometimes when you're copying a reference image, your vertexes can get out of alignment. And mine aren't, but I'm going to show you. If I just grab this one and move it along, so screwy Y. Sometimes you can end up with this when you're doing copying a reference image, and any operation or modifier you apply after it kind of will mess up what you're trying to accomplish. So what you do is whenever you trace a reference image, you're done. You select all your vertexes, and you can see the axis X and Y are running this way. So you're going to do scale, Y-axis 0, and it brought them all back into line. So you need to do that whenever you're tracing a reference image. Always scale on the appropriate axis. In this case, it's the Y-axis. You want it to scale to 0. So that is what you do there. So I'm going to tab back into object mode. Now we're going to add a modifier. And we are going to, it's under generate, and we're going to add a screw modifier. Now this does not look like a light bulb, but if we do it on the Y-axis, all of a sudden we have a magical white light bulb. And I think that looks just about how I want it to look. So I'm going to apply that. And that looks good. Now I'm going to tab into edge mode and go to the top. And I'm going to grab one of these edges, hold down my option key, and I'm actually I want to, yeah. So I've got them all selected all the way around. Actually, we're going to do some housekeeping over here before we get too far. We're going to create a new collection called lamp. And we're going to move down the three things we've created. Actually, we'll tab back into object mode before I do that. So these three things, we're going to move them down here. And this was the reference image. We don't really need it, but I'll move it there anyway. And actually, we'll give these things some names. So this is the base. This is the shaft. And this, oh yeah, and this is the bulb. Naming stuff keeps you so organized, especially when you start combining, adding materials. And actually, you know, I want to move this down just a little bit. So G to grab Z axis, just so it's touching like that. Okay. So we were back into edge mode, and we were looking down from the top, and we got this selected all the way around. So I'm going to do a Shift D, Enter, P to separate. So now it's its own object over here. We're going to select that, and we are going to scale it up. So we'll select this and scale. Something like that. Okay, and then we're going to add a modifier to this. We're going to add a mirror modifier. And now this is the hanger for the lampshade. So we're going to tab into edge mode. We're going to select this. Hold down the option key to select them all and extrude along the y-axis, something like that. Tab back into object mode. Go to top view. And we're going to G to grab along the y-axis till it's in the middle. Something like that. That looks good. Now I'm going to grab this shaft. I'm going to do Shift D to duplicate, G to grab up the Z-axis. We'll scale this way down, way down, way down. Grab Z. And that is going to be the pin that holds the lampshade. Actually, this thing, we need to add some thickness to that. So we're going to add a second modifier here, a solidifier. And that looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with these two. So I'm going to go ahead and apply these modifiers. And actually, we're going to apply the one to the base as well. So the next thing we need on this is a lampshade. Actually, you know what? We're going to put a switch in. So I'm going to do Shift D, rotate X 90 degrees. And we're going to scale this way down, way down. Scale it on the y-axis. And we're going to grab it, move it up Z, something like that. So that's a switch to turn it on and off. Actually, we're going to give this a name. So this is the okay, so now we're back to making the lampshade. So we're going to add a circle. Okay. And I've already kind of worked out the dimensions I want this to be. If the lamp's 10 by 10, I think I want the shade to be 12 by 12. Okay. And then we're going to go to front view and G to grab Z axis. We'll move this thing up. So G, Z. And we're going to move it right to about there. That's the height. That's where I want it to sort of be in its final position. Tab into edge mode. And we're going to E to extrude Z axis all the way down. Something like that. So now it gets a little tricky. So we are going to do Command R, add an edge loop, drag it all the way up to about there. And then Command R, another edge loop, and we're going to bring it way up out there. Now this first edge loop, we're going to grab it, hit Option, and we're going to zoom in a bit here so we can see what we're doing. So Command B to bevel this. Something like that. Okay, so I like that. So now what we're going to do, this is where it gets tricky. So in edge mode, we're going to select the top edge, hold down Option, hold down Shift, select the next one, the next one, and the next one. So we got all 4 edges selected. And we're going to do S to scale, and we're going to scale this in something like that. See what that looks like. I like that. Okay, so now this lampshade is kind of hanging just in midair. That's no good. So we're going to go to top view and scale it. Oh, top view. Okay, so now I kind of want, I need a straight line. I'm looking for a straight line. So this one, we're going to go to face mode. So we're going to hang the shade from those 2 points, or maybe these 2 points. You know what? It's kind of the same. So with those selected, we're going to scroll in here, and we want to select this, holding down Shift. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select this to deselect it. I'm going to go around this side, zoom in, holding down Shift. I'm going to select this, deselect this. So now I've got these 2 points selected. I need to do a Shift D to duplicate those, Enter, and then Option E to extrude along normals. And we are going to just bring those in like that. Perfect. So this is looking good. So tab into object mode. Okay, so I like this. So we're going to give some things some names here. So this is the hanger. Hanger. This is the shade. We don't need this light bulb. This is empty as the light bulb, so we'll get rid of that. And this is so we're going to, the hanger and the pin we're going to join. So holding down Control, I select both of those. Command J to join. So now, actually, rename that hanger. Okay. So let's see what it looks like in our room. So we're going to hit / to bring it back. That's a pretty good size. So I am going to select all of this. G to grab Z axis. Actually, we'll go to the top view. G to grab X. Something like that. G to grab X. No. G to grab X. Something like that. And then G to grab Z. See what that looks like. I think it looks okay. So now I want to just add some color to this thing, some material. So we are going to go into this mode here so we can kind of see what we're doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some color to the base. And we're going to make it blue, something like that. And we're going to add a bit of a shine to it. So take it down to 0. We'll call this base. Okay, so I'm just going to hide this shade for a minute. Actually, you know what? We'll add material to the shade. So we're going to keep it white, but we're going to reduce the alpha. So it's kind of see-through-ish, kind of like what we did to the blind. So we'll hide that, and we'll do the bulb next. Oh, shade. Name that material. So bulb, we're going to add material to that. Keep it white. We're going to go down to emissions and ramp that up so it's kind of glowing. And then this hanger, we're going to add material to that, call it hanger. And I think I want it to be like a grayish, something like that. And we'll make it metallic, so we'll increase this. And then we will add the hanger material to the shaft as well. Okay, I like that. The switch, we will add material to it. And we'll just make that black. Okay, this is looking good. Looks like a lamp. So now we'll bring back the shade, but I want this hanger to not be the same as the shade because it's made of metal really. So we'll go into face mode and we're going to select, oh, back into object mode. We're going to select the shade, go into face mode. Yep. And we're going to select all the edges of this hanger. Ooh. And we'll just go underneath here. And this one. And we are going to add a new material. We're going to pick the hanger. We're going to assign. Go back into object mode. And there. And that is the lamp. So, we might make this just a little bit shorter. So scale Z, scale, and then we're going to bring grab Z, something like that. Of course, we'll bring all of this down. G to grab Z. And that is a lamp for our isometric room. If you like what you're watching, give it a like. Think of subscribing. It really helps my channel. And we'll see you in the next video.